Hey there, folks. Greg Shepard here, S&A Financial Services. For those of you that don't know me by now, I specialize in helping folks just like yourself, assuming you're in higher education, get the most out of that oftentimes confusing higher ed retirement plans. Typically, we're talking about TIAA, infidelity, or a combination of both. Today, talking about TIAA. Liquidation, liquidity options surrounding TIAA Traditional. The catalyst, the reason I'm producing this video. Where do we start? Okay, so some of you have sent me emails with kind of like, we'll call it a game plan as to what you want to do surrounding TIAA Traditional. That ain't going to work, okay? You're trying to liquidate it, and what you're trying to do just isn't going to work given the contracts you have, okay? Those of you that know, TIAA Traditional can get really confusing in various ways, but again, we're focusing on liquidity here, okay? For those of you that are interested in lifetime income annuity options, that's fantastic. This isn't for you. This is really for those that are trying, again, to reiterate, liquidate. TIAA Traditional will presume as quickly as possible. Typically, you're wanting to roll those monies over to an IRA, okay? So some of you have sent me these emails with game plans that aren't going to work. Others have tried, called me or emailed me in frustration. Tried to go ahead with some of this implementation, and it backed up on you. Basically, it didn't work. You get frustrated and you give up. Paralysis by analysis. So with that being said, what we're going to do here, I haven't really thought this through all that much. So I have a flow chart here, right? I was going to share my screen and show you an Excel spreadsheet flow chart on liquidity, but I looked at it and I had someone else look at it. It would probably confuse you more. So what we're going to do here, I think would be in your best interest, is take a mental note of the contracts you have that you're trying to liquidate, okay? Because there's a lot of moving parts here. So make a mental note, and when I recite that, maybe write it down. I'll let you decide how you want to proceed here. So with that being said, I'm going to commit the cardinal sin of videos, and I'm going to stare at my screen for a number of minutes here. So we got 3 different contracts we're going to talk about. These are all illiquid contracts. We're not talking about liquid contracts because, as the name implies, it's liquid. TIAA Traditional is liquid within those contracts. So the illiquid contracts we're talking about are the 3 most popular: RA, retirement annuity; GRA, group retirement annuity; and the RC contract, retirement choice. We're going to start with the RA. We're going to talk about 2 different cycles in your career: in service, still working, and post termination, not working, okay? Typically synonymous with retirement. So with that being said, let's start with the RA. So I would advise maybe, look online, well, you're not going to find it in your statement. You have to look online, see which contract you have that you're trying to liquidate, okay? So again, we're going to start with the RA contract while you're still in service. Now, why would one want to do this while you're still in service with the RA contract? Your goal is to liquidate these monies at some point. Now, it's going to take a while because the TPAs, the transfer payout annuities, and again, if you don't know the acronym soup when it comes to TIAA, you need to educate yourself. I'm not going to go through that futile exercise during this video. So why would want to do this? If you want to liquidate that traditional inside an RA, you're going to have to do it over 10 years, paid out over 9 at some point. So you can start that while you're still in service. So let's get back to the point here. So RA, TIAA Traditional, while still in service. Let's see here. I got my flow chart, so forgive me here. So if the TIAA Traditional is over $2,000, which typically it is, because that's synonymous with typically employers putting money in. Let's see here. Over $2,000, you can do a TPA to reinvest. So it's a 10-year TPA to reinvest inside the same contract that you have the TIAA Traditional now. Okay, you're not going to roll that over to an IRA. You're still in service. You have to keep that money inside your employer retirement plan. Now, the key here is when you do the TPA to reinvest, again, reinvest back into the same contract. You're not going to put those monies back into TIAA Traditional because that just starts that clock right over again, right? You're going to want to reinvest those monies into something in that contract that's not TIAA Traditional. Okay, with the idea, the theory is that once you retire, typically, again, we're talking about liquidation, you're going to roll those monies over to an IRA. I'm not advocating any of this, by the way. It's not investment advice. These are just options, education for you. If you're in New York, you got all kinds. You got different rules. Why? I don't know. You're in New York. Literally, if you're in New York, you have. It's just over 5,000. Okay, that's not a big deal. So if you're over 5,000 in New York, I have no idea why. You can do TPA to reinvest while still in service. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, post-termination, typically retired, but not always. Post-termination, let's see here, less than 2,000. You can do a small cash, so it basically liquidates it, okay, right there. Under $2,000, it liquidates it. Typically, again, if you're looking for liquidation, you're going to roll that over to an IRA. If you're in New York, less than 5,000. Why? I don't know. And this is on or after April of 2005 for both instances. Got me. Okay, so typically outside of New York, under 2,000, liquidate it, becomes liquid upon termination. You're going to roll that over to an IRA. Over $2,000, which is most cases, over 5,000 for New York. If it's in there April 05 or later. Liquidation options are going to be the RMD. I'm sorry, we'll start with the two most. The TPA. The TPA is going to be the most common if you're trying to liquidate it, okay? 10 years, transfer payout annuity, 10 years paid out over 9 years, going to direct those payments to a rollover IRA. Most instances, not always. And just for educational purposes, you do have the RMD, interest only, in the lifetime income annuity option, of course, afforded to you with the traditional inside the RA. No 2.5% penalty strategy, if you will, with the RA. So typically, post-termination, if you're going to liquidate that, you're going to look at the TPA, okay? Not advice, just what most people are going to do. GRA, okay, next contract, illiquid contract. I'm trying to run through this as quick as possible without stumbling over my words. Group retirement annuity, still in service. Okay, same kind of deal, no New York restriction here. Hey, welcome to the game here, New York. Over $5,000, still in service, traditional GRA. TPA to reinvest, 10-year. So you're going to do that again, same thing as I talked about in the RA, reinvest those monies back in the same contract that you accumulated the traditional in. You're not going to want to put those monies back into traditional, starts that clock back over. So you're going to want to invest those monies in something different, something other than traditional. That starts that liquidation process, okay, while you're still in service. Odds are if you do this, if you do it while you're still in service, obviously you're still working, but the end of that 10 years is typically after retirement, okay? And then what I didn't mention in the RA contract, same deal here. Once you terminate service, retire, you can redirect those payments to go to a rollover IRA. Did you catch that? So while you're still in service, you can direct those payments back to the same contract. Once you terminate, redirect it to a rollover IRA, okay? Less than equal. So what are we doing here? Post-termination, still GRA traditional. Post-termination, over 5,000, no, sorry, less than $5,000. It becomes liquid, and then typically you're going to want to roll that over to an IRA. Not advice, just education. Post-termination, GRA traditional, still in the GRA account, over $5,000. You got a couple different scenarios here. Okay, I'll give you the three that are most popular, I guess. Again, liquidation, that's what we're looking at. Within 120 days, you can do this 2.5% surrender charge strategy. I'm not advocating for it. It's probably 50-50 when we do this for folks, okay? Literally, you take a 2.5% haircut, what we call it, and the remaining, the net number, dollars, you roll over to an IRA. Again, you're creating liquidity immediately. Let's see, over 120 days, separated service, termination, post-termination, do the 5-year fixed payment. Just did this with a client. We sent it to, let's see, what do we do? Post-termination, we sent it to a rollover IRA. This is very important. I did a different video on this. When you hit RMD with that 5-year fixed, TIAA, they're mandated, they're going to send that check to you personally once you hit that RMD age. You can call TIAA and say, hey, I don't know why you start off the conversation with hey, but you tell them to revert back to the original plan of, you have to call them, basically what I'm getting at. When they send you that check for the RMD, that 5-year fix, call TIAA, say, hey, revert back to my original plan and direct those payments back to the rollover IRA. It's a 5-year fixed. TPA, again, TPA, transfer payout annuity, very common, 10 years paid out over 9 years. Those are the top three, 2.5% penalty strategy, 5-year fixed, TPA. Then, of course, you have the RMD, interest only, and lifetime income annuity option. Always lifetime income annuity option in these contracts. Okay, next, RC, retirement choice. Somewhat the same. Well, let me dive into it. RC, retirement choice, still in service. Deep breath here. Okay, let's see here. Okay, over $5,000 while still in service, you can do a 7-year, basically a TPA, same deal, back into the same contract. You can't take these monies outside of traditional of these contracts while you're still employed. Okay, that's a whole other video. You can do that for some other plans and accounts given plan rules, but not what we're talking about here. Over $5,000, 7-year reinvest. Okay, again, you're going to want to reinvest those monies in something other than TIAA Traditional. Post-termination, traditional RC contract, less than $5,000, liquid, immediate, typically rolled over to an IRA. Over $5,000, RC contract, traditional. You've been there less than 120 days. You've been separated service less than 120 days. 2.5% penalty strategy becomes immediately a liquid. Roll that money over to an IRA. 7-year systematic, basically a TPA. 7-year, 84-month TPA. Same concept as a 10-year TPA. Okay. Typically, that's going to be paid out different ways. Well, I won't go into. I had something on the tip of my tongue, but I'll save that for another video. Okay, so we got the 2.5% penalty on the RC contract, a 7-year TPA. That's about it on that one. Yeah, no 5-year fixed on the RC. Okay, so then of course you got the R&D, interest only, and lifetime income annuity option. Man, deep breath. Okay, the contracts I didn't list, they're liquid. RCP, SRA, GSRA, IRA, of course. There's the KEOs and the GA, but those are less common. The GRA fixed period annuities may range from 5 to 30 years. I just wanted to disclose that. There's reasons as to why folks do that, but nonetheless, those GRA accounts can be a little tricky. Whew. All right, that was 12 minutes of time you won't get back. All right, folks, if you have questions, by all means, send me an email, contact me any way you'd like. My contact information is pretty easily accessible. Greg Shepard here, S&A Financial Services. I hope you learned something today, folks. Take care. All right, bye-bye.